Hello everyone. In this video we are going to see what we can do when our Amazon Fire TV Stick remote stops working. If you're in this video, obviously it's because your Fire TV Stick remote is not working. So to walk you through the process, I've unsynchronized my remote, so if your remote isn't working, something similar will happen to you. And it is that you turn on the Fire TV Stick. You press any button on the remote and instead of reacting, what it does is light up this little light that you see here above on the right. That means that the remote is not working. Something has happened to it, or it is out of sync, or it has some kind of error, but we can't use it with the device. The first thing you have to do in this case, or the first thing I recommend, is to do a reboot of the Amazon Fire TV Stick. To do this, you go to the device and unplug it from the light, either by removing the cable to the device or unplugging it from the electrical outlet. Once you have it unplugged, wait about a minute or a minute and a half and plug it back in. Turn the Fire TV Stick back on and check if by doing a reconnection at startup we have managed to find the remote again. In case you do the restart of the Fire TV and the remote still does not work, we will go to the second option, which is another super obvious one, and is that the batteries of the remote have run out. In this case you have to keep in mind that the Fire TV remote works via Bluetooth and not via infrared like most remotes in the world, so it needs more battery than normal and also consumes more battery, so it is important that you have the batteries well charged. In this case the only thing you have to do is to open the remote control from behind and change the batteries and put 2 new batteries. If you do this and the remote control still does not work, we are going to see other solutions, and now a little more complex. The first thing I want to clarify is that even if the main Fire TV remote does not work, it does not mean that we cannot use it and handle it in other ways. In this case, 2 ways. First, with the conventional TV remote control, in this case with the remote control of my LG TV, I can move the Fire TV and continue using it without any problem. In addition, this will help us to reconfigure the main controller. And on the other hand, we can also manage the Fire TV Stick through the cell phone with the Fire TV application. For either of the 2 processes, up here I'm going to leave the 2 individual videos I have on the channel explaining both how to connect the mobile device, the phone, to the Fire TV and control it, as well as how to control the Fire TV with our TV remote. And why do I say this? Because in the next step you're going to need to control the Fire TV in any other way than with the remote, which doesn't work for us obviously. So the quickest option is to link the regular TV remote and make it work with this remote. Once you can operate the Fire TV, either with the cell phone or with the remote control, we will go here on the right to the settings section. We will go down to where it indicates controls and Bluetooth devices, and here inside we will click where it says Amazon Fire TV remotes. As you can see, in this case my remote does not work. I have made a forced reset to go with you in the process, and as you can see the remote does not pull. It puts in battery offline, it does not appear in either serial number nor absolutely nothing, for which it does not recognize the remote control. What are we going to do then? Well, in this case what we are going to do is, in quotation marks, trick the Amazon Fire TV Stick. And how? Well, we are going to add a remote, making it believe that it is a new remote, but in reality we are going to add back the remote that has been desynchronized. To do this, using the TV remote, we will click on where it says Add Remote. As you can see, it tells us to hold down the home button, the little house button, for 10 seconds. So we take the remote control that we have unsynchronized and hold down the button for 10 seconds. As you can see, the remote has already been found, it's already flashing, so it's already found it, it's already half linked. Now what happens? It tells us that we have to press the central button of the previous controller, but of course, we can't do that because we are using the same controller, we don't have a previous controller. What are we going to do to fool it? We're going to press the center button or the OK button on our previous remote, which doesn't exist, but we're going to use the TV remote. So, we're going to press the center button once, and as you can see, there it is. What it has done is it has understood that this was the previous remote, and so, now if we go back to take the remote of our Fire TV, it works again without any problem. As you can see, battery OK, version and serial number. Well guys, as you have seen, we have been able to make the remote of our Amazon Fire TV stick work again. In short, if the remote is not working, first step, reboot the Fire TV. Second step, change the batteries in the remote. And third step, as this we have seen a little more complex, in which you will need the TV remote to be able to fool the Fire TV a little and think that we are synchronizing a new remote, when in fact we are synchronizing the same as before. Before finishing, then just remind you that if in some extreme case the remote continues not to work and then you give it for lost or directly has broken and you cannot continue using it because no method works for you, then I recommend that, in quotation marks, well hey, forget the Fire TV remote and use the two methods that I have told you. Or use the conventional TV remote to be able to operate it, as you can see, without any kind of problem. There we have it, I can handle it without any problem. As well as the cell phone application, which I remind you, I have left the links at the beginning of the video and I will also leave them in the description. And now yes, this is the end of the video. As always, if it has been useful, do not forget to leave me a nice like, as well as subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell to not miss anything. As for me, that's all. As always, a pleasure, and until the next video.